Hello, fellow members of the Midnight Society. Welcome back to another episode review from the show Are You Afraid of the Dark? Last time, we covered The Tale of the Carved Stone, a Gary story about a girl who buys a friendship stone that is actually a powerful relic that allows the wielder to travel through time. Tonight's narrative, from Tucker, is about a brother and sister who accidentally awaken an ancient mummy. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, I call this Season 3, Episode 8, The Tale of the Guardian's Curse. We open on Gary chasing Tucker to the campfire with murder in his eyes. Yes! Things are finally getting interesting. What did he do, Gary? Double-sided tape on the toilet seat? No. Broke a lamp and blamed it on you. No. You were on the phone and he embarrassed you while you were trying to impress that special someone?
He stole my ankh.
I'm sorry, what?
My ankh. That's an ankh.
It's an ankh, your ankh. I need the ankh.
Okay, I get it. Just everybody stop saying ankh.
All right.
Ah, the Egyptian ankh. Part of any teen nerd's arsenal. How do I know? Well, let's just say I used to play Vampire the Masquerade as a teen, and, I may have visited the occasional Hot Topic when I could escape the desert prison town that I lived in, although I certainly couldn't have told you that it was an Egyptian symbol back then. Also, what's going on with the writers? An ankh in this episode, the Eye of Ra in the last one? Had you all just watched a documentary on the tomb of Tutankhamun?
He believed that the pyramid acted as a time machine, if you could unlock its key.
Tucker explains that he needs the ankh for his story, but Gare Bear is still pissed that Tucker's always taking his stuff without asking. Sam intervenes, getting Tucker to begrudgingly ask to use the ankh, and Gary to begrudgingly agree to let him use it. Check out Sam with her serious mom energy at the campfire. She's like the Wendy to Gary's Peter Pan and his Lost Boys. And look, I only make that reference because, like the kids in their stories, I don't think anyone at the campfire actually has parents.
Back off, Godzilla!
Tucker explains that the ankh is a symbol that means life. He says his story is full of symbols, but that you have to know how to read them.
Because sometimes life could be far worse than anything you can imagine, including death.
Okay, maybe we don't need a scary story, but an intervention. You heard him. That was a cry for help. He's hurting inside, and he's not even old enough to become a goth yet and start listening to The Cure. Tucker's tale begins on a construction team working in the basement of what appears to be a museum. I mean, you know how museums leave their priceless artifacts out in the open in a basement where guys are swinging around steel beams and driving forklifts? Anyway, they break through a wall and discover a long wooden crate.
Ain't these things supposed to have curses on them or something, huh?
If it's in a box modern enough to say this side up in what I'm assuming is Arabic, then it's probably curse-free. Also, two important things here. One, this scene contains more adults than we've probably seen in the first 3 seasons of this show combined. And two, this might be the first episode to not feature an opening narration by the storyteller to set the scene. Just another example of Tucker phoning it in.
I'm telling my story this way because if you think about it, a telephone is probably the scariest thing in your house.
We cut to our two main characters, brother and sister Josh and Cleo, arriving at a building with their dad. They're apparently on their way to a vacation in the mountains, but their dad needs to just stop in real quick at the office before heading out. We also get the indication that he has sort of made this a habit.
Dad, we're really going this time, right?
Promise. He lies.
Wait, is that Budnick from Salute Your Shorts? Well, no wonder he's such a troublemaker at camp. He's got a neglectful father at home, so he acts out for attention.
We hold you in our hearts, and when we think about you, I hope we wanna fart.
Tucker finally chimes in with his narration to tell us where Josh and Cleo's mom is.
Josh and Cleo Dugan's mom died when they were little.
Of course she did. Writers, look, we gotta talk, okay? It's been 3 seasons of this kind of stuff. We need the healing to begin, okay? And I'm here for you. Like, your parents apparently weren't. So come on, bring it in, all right? Let's hug it out. And look, despite how squeezable DJ's butt is, I will keep my hands above waist level this time.
And that's okay in my book.
Josh and Cleo's dad seems to be the curator at the museum, and while he's intent on taking his kids on vacation, a colleague insists he see what they've just found. He tries to argue that he's just popping in for 5 minutes, but his colleague convinces him to take a peep by saying,
"What are you waiting for? Do it!"
It's a sarcophagus that was stolen from the Egyptian Temple of Light back in 1921, and appears to have magical properties. For example, it immediately makes Josh and Cleo's dad forget that he has children.
I have to get this to my lab now.
We cut to Mr. Dugan's office where he's examining the sarcophagus while we get some exposition about it from Cleo reading an old newspaper article. We find out that the sarcophagus belongs to Mina, a goddess made up for the purposes of this episode. Legend has it that she had a ring of eternity that would summon life from the earth each spring, and she also had the ability to turn her enemies into stone. They open her ancient coffin as follows.
All right, help me quickly. Careful. Careful.
What kind of podunk operation are you running here? Nobody's wearing gloves or masks. You don't know what kind of bacteria is sealed in that box. You deserve whatever you get from this thing. I hope there is a curse, I really do. Anyway, we finally see our mummy.
There she is. Mina, the Guardian.
I mean, she's no Imhotep, but then again, who aside from Boris Karloff and Arnold Vosloo are? Later, at home, Cleo is fixing her dad some dinner when Josh shows some of that sassy Camp Anawana spirit.
Don't feed him. Maybe we can starve him out of there.
Yeah, he's a grown man. Let him f***ing feed himself. Anyway, Josh and Cleo argue about their dad for a bit. Cleo says that he needs his work, and Josh says...
What he needs is a girlfriend.
Yeah, because that wouldn't pull his attention away from you kids at all. As Cleo is dropping off dinner, her dad tells her that he translated some of the hieroglyphs off the sarcophagus and that blood sacrifices were made to Mina to ensure a fruitful harvest. Hey, this is the last show in the Snick lineup. Kids have to sleep after this. Let's ease up on the human sacrifice talk.
Yuck.
Mr. Dugan says he's also made another discovery involving the Ring of Eternity and an elixir. He reads the inscription, which, look, I'm sure it's not even going to come up again in the episode, so why is he even bothering?
You're not as astute as I thought.
Mr. Dugan also brings up the Guardian's Curse, so that we get the name of the tale in the tale itself, so way to go, Tucker. And then he says,
I need you guys to get back to the museum and pick up that new set of photos.
I'm sorry, you want to run that by me again? Which of these two kids is old enough to drive? Hold up. You drove to the museum earlier, and you're telling me that you couldn't take 5 minutes from staring at the photos you've already spent hours looking at to drive your happy ass to the museum to pick up new photos that you want to stare at for even more hours? So you sent your kids on bikes at night? Have I mentioned how much I want this guy to get cursed?
Don't make this any harder.
Once inside the museum, while Cleo is looking for the photos, Josh gets upset about how their dad is always treating them. He kicks the sarcophagus, revealing a hidden compartment. Cleo goes to investigate, causing Josh to say,
Don't touch it, there's a curse.
I don't know what it is about this clip, maybe the floppy hands at the end, but I shouldn't find what is an otherwise sensible statement so funny.
Don't touch it, there's a curse.
Inside the compartment they find...
It's an ankh.
No, it isn't. And if I hear one more person say ankh, I'm gonna... Well, I'm probably just gonna stand here and take it, but I will be very vexed. Anyway, the kids fight over who should carry the elixir flask, causing this to happen. Oh, the ankh was on the flask! Wait, did I just say ankh? Damn it! Stop saying ankh! Ah! Oh, I said it again! Why am I still saying ankh? Ah! I can't stop! Ankh! Ankh! Ah! I'm gonna freak out! Ankh! Oh, stop saying ankh! Oh, God. Somebody do something quick!
Don't touch it, there's a curse.
Thanks, Budnick. You just get me, man.
Wow, I'm totally blown away.
The kids collect the bottle and the ring and head out. Just after they leave, this happens. Maybe the curse is real. Yes! Mr. Dugan's gonna die! Sorry. The kids remember that they forgot the pictures, but when they get back to the room, they find that the mummy is gone. Naturally, they're freaked out and book it back home. Unfortunately, what they find there doesn't bring them any relief.
Dad, we found the ring of eternity.
Please tell me the mummy strangled him. Please! Hey. Look, I know it seems harsh, but it sounds like those kids have been raising themselves anyway. Cleo finds a note from her dad saying that he had to go to the museum. Drat. Why can't you writers just let me be happy?
It's the curse!
The kids hear something in the house. They head out a window and rush back to the museum. The kids don't find their dad, and Josh thinks that everything is happening as a result of the curse. Cleo says that stuff is made up, but Josh kindly reminds her that the mummy is missing, resulting in... I mean, that's not necessarily the mummy. It could just be someone in need of a manicure. Okay, 2 manicures. You want to put me down for one as well?
Why not?
The kids run to the basement to hide. While down there, Josh mentions a horrible smell, implying that the mummy might be lurking nearby. We then get a pretty satisfying jump scare. The kids continue running from whatever is stalking them in the basement. They eventually come across their dad, who tragically is not dead, just unconscious. Turns out that their stalker isn't even the mummy, but Mr. Dugan's colleague from earlier, Dr. Caplesmith. I guess Capel was his maiden name.
I don't think so.
It turns out that Caplesmith wants the Ring of Eternity and was planning to steal it before the Egyptian government could reclaim the sarcophagus. Wait a minute. When he showed this thing to Dugan, he knew what it was, which is why he was so excited. If he planned to steal the ring, why did he bother showing it to Dugan in the first place? Dugan was about to leave on vacation. The good doctor would have had a week to search the sarcophagus for the ring and take it with no one even being the wiser. What kind of idiots do you have working at this museum?
The finest in New York.
Caplesmith has soaked all the crates in the basement in kerosene, which is what the kids were smelling, and a great "the mummy is near" fake-out. He threatens to burn the museum down if they don't give him the ring. Cleo says to give it to him while the other two object, but it's apparent that Cleo seems to know something they don't. Josh hands the ring to Caplesmith, who kindly thanks them, apologizes for the inconvenience, and disappears into the night, never to be seen again. No! He's an evil bastard. He says the family has to die so they can't go to the authorities. Just like in the last episode, the villain proves that evil is dumb. In the moment of his triumph, Cleo convinces him to let them see if the legend of the ring is true before he burns them alive, resulting in...
You can't move.
I guess Caplesmith never saw an Indiana Jones movie before.
He chose poorly.
Cleo cites the inscription her dad told her earlier, which clued her into what the ring would do to Caplesmith. It's about this time that the mummy makes her way into the basement. At first, everyone is terrified, but then Josh gets an idea from the same inscription that inspired his sister. He puts the ring on the mummy's finger, causing this to happen. Okay, I'm confused. The ring brings eternity, and the elixir brings life. The ring turned Caplesmith to stone, but it turned the mummy into... hot mummy? I mean, shouldn't the elixir have done that? Unless... maybe it's like a combination of the two, like first you drink the elixir, or have it dumped on your dead bony hand in her case, and then you put the ring on? Sure. Why not? But this is why you always read the instructions thoroughly before messing with ancient artifacts.
Well, the translation of the inner track is wrong. The front door to heaven is... Stargate.
The family approaches Mina, and we get this awkward little moment. It's not just me, right? You all get the vibe that he's definitely gonna f*** that mummy. I mean, Josh senses it too.
I wonder if she likes to ski.
Josh, buddy, do you really want someone who demands blood sacrifices as a step-mummy? A step-mummy. Oh, God, do you get it? Because she's a mummy that's going to marry their dad. No, that was not right. I would like to apologize to everyone, but mostly to Josh and Cleo, because that was highly inappropriate. So I'm sorry. The tale ends with Tucker saying that the true curse was immortality, and that Dr. Caplesmith was the final victim. He then walks off into the forest like he just dropped the microphone on an epic rap battle. Of course, we learn that he did just run off with Gary's Hot Topic necklace.
The little toe still has my ankh.
Now for the review. I may just be a sucker for ancient Egyptian mythology, even fake Egyptian mythology for a kid's horror show, but I had a good time with this episode. Sure, the scares were slim and not a lot really happens, but it was still fun and had some nice twists.
Find like this happens once in a lifetime.
The settings were rather blasé. There was some real promise setting the majority of the episode in a museum. I mean, museums are sort of inherently creepy, so putting some kids in one after dark with a real mummy should have been a slam dunk. But it's pretty clear that they weren't filming in an actual museum, so all we got was an office and a rather well-lit basement. I really wish we could have had some time with the kids fleeing their pursuer in an actual museum setting. I mean, even just one more room set up to look like an ancient Egyptian exhibit with darker lighting would have gone a long way.
I think we better call someone on this.
The story was okay. I really do enjoy stories about ancient Egyptian mythology. In fact, I enjoy most well-known TV shows and movies that tackle the subject matter.
You're not fit to be king.
Whoa, I said most, not all. Although Gods of Egypt was rather educational, I for one did not realize that ancient Egypt and its pantheon of gods featured so many white people. Anyway, I enjoyed the loosely based mythology of this tale and the idea of ancient writings being misunderstood and causing the villain's downfall. But where I think the episode falls short is the heart of the story. The character who should be having an arc is the father who neglects his children, but this is a kid's show, so he is not the focus. I think this is really just another victim of the show's short format. There's no reason we couldn't have focused on the kids and still had Mr. Dugan show up in a bigger capacity near the end to realize the error of his ways and wrap up that arc.
Just because he doesn't have a life doesn't mean he can ruin ours.
The scares were light here, but the tension was good. The filmmakers did a great job of not showing the monster, who turned out to be human in the end. And you know what? I appreciate that, because I always find non-magical villains with basic human depravity as their motivation more creepy than anything else. There were also some great fake-outs with the smell of the kerosene and the dummy mummy. The dummy mummy? The mummy? No? Okay, moving on. Younger me wouldn't have found this episode scary, but it would have made me wonder if one of my step-parents was formerly a member of the undead.
Yuck. Cool.
The acting in this episode was good, although a bit split with the kids doing the heavy lifting. Cleo and Josh are great leads. Cleo is the more supportive child who always seems to have an interest in her father's work, while Josh is the rebellious one who just wants to have a normal teen life. They both play off of each other well, and you really believe they're siblings who love each other, but, also kind of want to kill each other.
We know.
The adult acting in this episode didn't really do it for me. Dr. Capel-Smith was a bit of a lackluster villain. He does fine at the start of the episode with his excitement over the Egyptian find rivaling, if not exceeding, Mr. Dugan's, but his turn at the end just, didn't really have any menace to it. Mr. Dugan is okay, though he's really not given much to do. He shows some genuine excitement over finding the sarcophagus, and even has a fleeting moment of regret about breaking his kids' hearts yet again. And let us not forget, acting or not, he definitely wanted to f*** that mummy.
The Egyptian authorities are going to go ballistic.
Tucker, while the story feels a bit incomplete, I'm going to say that the tale of the Guardian's Curse meets the approval of the Midnight Society. The Midnight Society members' poll on this episode, at the time of recording, was nearly 100% in favor of, with only 2 votes against. So, I guess my ruling stands. Good job, Tucker.
I guess the story was pretty good.
I want to thank the following Midnight Society members for participating in this video's poll by reading them off this ancient text, which I'm sure is in no way cursed. Jason C., Alice C., Alice P., Joe C., Lisa M., Brooke M., Lisa W., Hetty L., Alexandra S.C., Zach B., Barrett B., Mukhmadov N., Ronnie B., Andrew N. Wait a minute. There's someone just scribbled 3 names, the same 3 names in a row here. What a dunce. Glad I caught it, because if I would have just been reading along, I would have been like, Yatuai, Yatuai, Yatuai. Oh, silly. Anyway, Amanda G, John P, Matt L, Sarah PR, Edna AH, Jonathan G, Adam M, Paula C. Hear something that's weird. Brent G, Jason T, Alyssa J, Benjamin B, Michael W, Dawn A. definitely hears. Probably just the wind in the trees or something like that. You know what I mean? Kaylin P, Jared G, Alicia B, and Chelsea F. Thanks, everyone. What did you all think of Tucker's story? Did you ever own an Ankh without understanding its significance? Would you want a mummy as a step-parent? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to check out the next episode about the tale of the curious camera. Until then, are you afraid of the dark?
Don't touch it, there's a curse.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and a share. It really goes a long way to helping out the channel. Be sure to subscribe and click that bell icon to be notified when more Midnight Society episodes go up. Thanks, everybody.